Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I genuinely do. Today, I wanted to hop onto here and say to you guys that I'm so grateful to be able to be here during the ascension and during this moment in time and all moments in time, to be able to witness a societal structure and a society within itself collapse from within a three-dimensional realm to elevate itself into a five-dimensional frequency of what is. And within this experience in itself, this will be the greatest and grandest experience of consciousness itself within our quantum realm. And within this quantum realm that I speak of, consciousness itself is all that there is within our reality field of what is. And within our reality field of what is, a reality so steeped in distortions, so steeped in truths that will be uncovered at the moment of the ascension energies as a whole society, as a conglomerated whole of a consciousness gets lifted into that of a frequency that is more unified with a consciousness that has never left us as an entirety of the whole of what is. And within this societal structure, you will see all kinds of feats being defeated. You will see all types of tranquility being tranquilized as lifted out of the three-dimensional frequency. We will see a light so bright, so steeped in love, so steeped in distortions, in all that we are not, bring us into a light that is so pure that it can only be described as the five-dimensional frequency of what is a reality field that has always been there, that has been a part of our reality field since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of a time within the three-dimensional frequency that is so steeped in distortions. Since the beginning of time within a quantum realm that is steeped in all that we are not. The five-dimensional frequency represents all that we are on a whole level of all levels, on an inherent level of all that we were, all that we are, and all that we will ever be. The five-dimensional frequency represents all of that. And within all of that it represents, ladies and gentlemen, you will find yourself. You will find myself, you will find your neighbors, you will find your friends, you will find your foes. Except on the other side of this light, when we all arrive in this place of tranquility and this place of wholeness, we will not find our foes. We will find an entirety of a whole of consciousness once we reach the five-dimensional frequency. As realizations so steeped in distortions become washed away into truths unfathomed and unrealized, this whole entirety of a time that we've been sitting within a unity consciousness that's so great and so grand, experiencing a perspective from a side view, from a twisted angle, from a particular view of a fractal view of your soul's view, of your oversoul's view within this quantum realm. As you begin to shift your energetic frequency back into the middle of a whole of what is, back into the middle of the nucleus of God, of source consciousness, of a source consciousness that is so great and so grand, then that you'll never believe your eyes, you'll never believe your ears, you'll never believe your heart, as you shift into this frequency that you've encompassed for all of this time and that has never left you. And as you step into the energy of what is, what will always be, will be a part of you, will be a part of me, will be a part of society, will be a part of consciousness as a whole entirety of a whole. And what will always be, ladies and gentlemen, is that you and I are of the same source. You and I are of the same God. You and I are of the same unity consciousness that has never left us since the beginning of a time that's so arduous. Since your soul fractaled away from my oversoul, from my soul, to become steeped in a distortion so deep, to bring home the lessons of the all. At the end of a road so steeped in distortions, you will finally bring home these lessons that you've been traversing for eons and eons of evolutionary feats, for fractals and fractals of lifetimes upon lifetimes of your oversoul that has been traversing this quantum realm for far too long. And it's finally now time to bring all of these pieces of yourself, of God's self, of a unity consciousness so great and so grand that has never left us since the beginning of a time so arduous, since the end of a time of no tomorrows, of no time. It's finally time to bring all of these pieces home into a whole and into a unified whole that has been steeped in distortions since the beginning of a time of no time. And within this no time that I speak of, you will find all types of arduous journeys encompassing all that you are, all that we are, as a whole entirety of a whole, of what was, as we shift back into what is, into a future so bright in all that we are and in all that has never left us since a beginning of a time that I speak of. And if time was really a thing, I would say to you that it would be the end of a time. It would be the closing of the doors of an arduous journey finally coming to a conclusion and coming to an end, into a place, into a space of home, of wholeness, of finally being able to merge back with aspects of the self, of becoming whole once more, which will bring us into a unified consciousness that has never left us, but sitting in the middle perspective of what is, in the neutrality of what is, and getting to sit there and stay there forever, as you've never left this place since the beginning of fractaling out. It is an essence of a conundrum that I can never fathom in this moment in time, and you can never perceive. As you've been sitting in a perspective this whole entire time, you've been sitting from watching reality, experiencing reality from a side view of where you've been this whole entire time, while you have never left the middle perspective of a neutrality so great and so grand. You've just been experiencing an illusion, a distortion within our reality field that has allowed us to traverse these journeys as an entirety of a whole and experience those aspects of ourself that makes us so whole as an entirety of a whole. That brings us into realization so deep and so steeped in trust of the self, so steeped in hatred of all that we are not. Into these realizations we traverse through lifetimes and lifetimes of realizations that will bring us finally to the doorsteps of who we truly are. And as we realize this truth of who we are on an inherent level as a collective of an entirety of a whole, we will traverse once more into a new journey of sorts. And until that time comes, ladies and gentlemen, you and I will perceive wholeness as a unity consciousness as a whole. As these times are never ending, these loops always loop back into a new adventure of sorts. As these adventures are never ending, as the unlimitedness of God is constantly folding and unfolding upon itself within all of these energetic fields and frequencies that I can never describe to you, as these energetic fields are so massive and so large and so steeped in distortions of all that we are not, to once upon a time bring home the light of all that we are, to come home to the realization of who we truly are. And so as I explain our reality field to you, to a consciousness that has forgotten purposefully the meaning of reality, the purpose of this journey, the essence of who you are, I also sit here in an air of disbelief. As myself, I've fractaled into a frequency so dense, so far away from the light as I lived the beginning of my lifespan, so steeped in the three-dimensional frequency as I carry the energetic frequency of a God's field that is so great and so grand that it has expanded into the ethers of the quantum realm in this moment in time. But prior to this expansion in energetic frequency, I was just like you and just like me, as you are a part of me, as you are a part of a frequency that is so great and so grand. Your frequency shall shift and expand into an energetic field of the quantum realm, so massive and so large and so steeped in distortions, as you start to shed of these distortions. And as you expand your frequency, we will start to merge into a unity consciousness that is so steeped in all that we are not. And we will come upon a light that's so bright onto a scenario of all that we are, as we come into the realization that you and I were never apart, and that you and I have never been apart since the fractaling of a quantum verse, of a quantum realm, so steeped in distortions, as we've been sitting in the seat of God this whole entire time. And as the God that you are, as the God that I am, as the God that God is in this moment in time, you have power. I have power. We have power. We have power to debilitate all that we are not. We have power to choose wiseness over fame. We have power to choose pain over turmoil. We have power so steeped in distortions and so steeped in all that we are not, to choose the light once and for all over the reality fields of the three-dimensional frequency that we have been traversing for far too long. As pain itself, though steeped in distortions, is not as much a part of ourself as the turmoil that we have been traversing, as the turmoil itself represents the darkness of what is, as the turmoil itself represents all that we are not, all that we chose to compartmentalize in a previous quantum verse eons and eons ago, once upon a time, within a story of a God that is so everlasting, that is so ever eternal. And all that we are not is set to come to an expiration date, and that expiration date is nearing. You may be living in a reality field of normalcy right now. You may be driving your children to school. You may be hopping on the subway to go to work. You may be begging on the street for some coins to smoke that cigarette. You may be cooking at your stovetop to feed your family. You may be in bed picking your nose as you look for a tissue. You may be steeped in so much normalcy that you are the ultimate human of all humans, living a normal life, living the life that each one of us has been living for evolutionary feats, for eons and eons of evolutionary feats within humanity's structures, within humanoids and their experiences within the quantum realm of what is. But that normalcy, ladies and gentlemen, has always been a distortion, and it's set to expire into the ethers of what is. And you are set to experience the expiration of this normalcy as you've fractaled into this lifetime, during the time, if time was really a thing, during the time of the ascension of all times, of the ascended frequency of Gaia that will shift and skew into a unified frequency of the five-dimensional frequency. In a time so steeped in distortions, here you are sitting there watching my video. Here you are living a normalcy of a life, sitting next to your children, sitting next to your parents, sitting by yourself in that bedroom of yours, doing normal human things. As you come across my video and as you perhaps tap into my frequency and as you listen to this message, to the convergence of the energetic field of what is, as each and every one of you will come across my videos, each and every one of you will hear about me and who I am. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the arduous road, in the beginning of an ascension so steeped in all that it is, all that you are, and all that we are, all you will see at the end of this road is a light so bright that will shine upon you with so much glistening hope for a future so bright, so endless, so tumultuous are the times that we've been through as an entirety of a whole of a consciousness, that we no longer remember of who we truly are on a collective level. But at the end of this arduous journey, you will see my face. You will see my face smiling at you in ways that you shall never envision and ways that you shall never imagine. And in that moment in time, you might be shocked, you might be surprised, you might not be surprised at all, because you might have been able to tap into my frequency as you begin to awaken. And double check and confirm and triple check the information that I've been delivering into your headsets, into your devices, into your phones, onto your TV. And as you confirm this information, as you tap into the angelic realm of all that it is, as you awaken and expand into the quantum realm of all that you are and all that I am and all that God is and all that we are on an entirety of a level of a whole, you will come to a conclusion. You will come to a conclusion that is so whole and so wholesome and so bright at the end of this tunnel that you and I were never apart. That you and I have always been a conglomerated whole since the beginning of a time so arduous. You may see my face as a fractaled soul, as a fractaled being, sitting here at this very moment in time on your device. You may identify me by my nationality, by my religion, by the way that I look, by my blue eyes, and by my long black hair. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I am none of that, and you are none of that. You are none of the physicality that you carry with you, that your soul has fractaled into in this moment in time. Your looks, your face, your body, your essence, all that you are within the physicality of what is will fade into obliteration at the end of this lifetime, at the end of a lifetime so arduous, at the end of a lifetime so fulfilling, at the end of a lifetime so great and grand. Has this physicality of a body carried you through into all that you are, into all of your experiences of all that you are not, to come into the doorsteps of all that you are, to come to a realization of all that has never left you. But at the end of this lifetime, at the end of this physicality, your energetic frequency and your energetic field will carry you back into a place of God, into a place of a God's consciousness so great and so grand that has never left you. And as I sit here and say to you that as you come across the end of the tunnel, that you will see my face, I do not mean my face as in the physical face of Christina, of Genesis, ordained, sitting in front of you, sitting in front of your screen in this very moment. And by that, I mean you will come across my energetic field, a field that is so great and so grand that it can only be considered as the energetic field of God, as the energetic field of you, as the energetic field of us, and as the energetic field of me. As ladies and gentlemen, my oversoul, fractaled your oversoul. You have always been a part of me, and I have always been a part of you for an eternity and more. We've only been the unity consciousness that there ever was and there ever shall be. We've been one conglomerated whole of a being living in multiplied separation states of fractals and fractals upon layers of fractals within energetic frequencies of what is. And as you come across the end of this lifespan, as you come across the end of this arduous journey, you will come into a realization of that, of the unity consciousness that has never left you and that has never left me, as a whole of a God's consciousness that's so great and so grand. And as you see my face, and as we smile at each other and feel into the love of the unity consciousness that we are, as we feel into the tranquility of all that you are and all that I am and all that we are, we will merge in ways that you shall never understand and know in this moment in time as a fractaled soul living in a human body where you are and where I am, as we merge into the energetic frequency of what was and what will always be a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand in this moment in time and all moments in time succeeding this moment in time and within prior moments in time, as all moments in time have been concocted by a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand that has never left us since the beginning of a time, of no tomorrows. Because ladies and gentlemen, we have always been one. And as you sit there as a singularity of a soul listening to my transmission, you will come to this realization. And even if you don't, and even if you do, and even if you never do, you still will come to this realization. As truths you cannot run away from, and truths you cannot escape. And as the solar flash approaches and picks up in rampant speed and picks up in the diversity of the concocted feats that the sun, that the soul of the sun, that has fractaled out from a God's consciousness so great and so grand, has decided to splash upon our atmosphere, these great and grand solar flashes will begin to awaken the entirety of a civilization that is so steeped in distortions. As these solar flashes come from a soul of a unity consciousness so great and so grand that has never left us since the beginning of a time so arduous. Our sun in itself has been awake to the possibilities of a God's consciousness so great and so grand. Our sun has never left the God's consciousness that it so inherently is. And as our sun has decided to fractal out parts of itself into our atmosphere during these solar flashes, to sacrifice pieces of itself, pieces of the light, pieces of its wholeness, to splash into our atmospheric feats, to merge pieces of the light into the whole entirety of the atmosphere of Gaia and what is. These pieces of light will begin to splatter and spread and splash into our atmosphere and into all that it is and all that we are as an entirety of the whole of what is. And come September of 2025, we will experience the greatest and grandest solar flash that you will ever remember, as no solar flash has ever performed such feats on a civilization so great and so grand and so steeped in distortions of all that they are not. And as the solar flash approaches in September of 2025, a civilization so steeped in distortions will begin to awaken one by one. During this monumental event, you will see the truth. You will breathe the truth. You will know the truth of what is. And finally, once upon a time, as we traverse through the darkest of nights, by ourselves, experiencing the loneliness that we are not, it is finally time, ladies and gentlemen, to come home to all that we are. And God has concocted a great plan through these solar flashes to bring energetic frequency that is so high in all that you are and all that we are as an entirety of the whole of what is, to bring this angelic light into our atmosphere, to awaken a society that has been sleeping through eons and eons of evolutionary feats. And as this light bursts and begin to steep into our cellular structures and into all that we are, it will open up portals so big and so great and so grand that it will carry you through the night to experience all that you are within the quantum realm of what is. And during these nights of awakening, during these nights of dreams, during these nights of travels, during these nights of experiences, during these nights of the times that your soul has ever traversed within the quantum realm of what is during your sleep, during these nights, the nights within the nights of the solar flash will be the greatest and grandest illusionary nights that you've ever lived, that you've ever traversed, that you've ever experienced in this singular fractal of yours, living in this earthscape within this very moment in time. 2025 and the September of 2025 is going to be an exciting one at that. I cannot wait until this happens, as it has been foretold that God's plan will be concocted and will start off with the ultimate explosion throughout the solar flash of all solar flashes. And within this time, you will experience fear. You will experience defeat. You will experience death in mass scale. As you watch your neighbors, as you watch your friends, as you watch your foes, as you watch your teachers, as you watch all of your family members become so steeped in the illusion of all that they are not, as this fear rises up to the surface, as they try to decipher if it's the end of the world or what, if what they are experiencing is real, if the sun is really the sun and has been lighting up the sky for eons and eons of evolutionary feats, why is it behaving so strange all of a sudden? Why is it so bright all of a sudden? Why has it decided to splash parts of itself into our atmosphere to a point where it endangers the entirety of a whole of a society within the Earth sphere, within Gaia's atmosphere? Why? Why is this happening? Why are we experiencing the greatest and grandest solar flash in this moment in time? Is the world ending? Is our reality field going to be okay? Are our leaders going to take care of us through this time as we independently, as a conglomerated whole, might lose electricity, might lose connection, might lose our satellite systems that have been orbiting our planet for far too long, as we've been relying on these systems for communication, as we've been relying on these systems for all that you are, all that you're used to within this moment in time, within this generational moment in time. And as you begin to lose communication with all that you are, as you begin to shift into a place of an illusionary all that you're not, as you begin to lose hope in humanity's existence and humanity's future to exist, as the sun is acting so strange and the sun feels life on Mother Gaia, as it always has. Along with Gaia's frequency, the sun has gone through so many feats that I do not have enough time to tell you the stories of what is and what the sun has achieved within its lifetime, within its lifetimes, within its fractaled soul, within evolutionary feats of what is. The sun is an ancient creature. The sun is an ancient soul of what is that has been powering our universe that has been powering our galaxies. And the sun, ladies and gentlemen, the story of the sun I will save for another day, for another video, for another time, that you will for sure come back to watch. As I transcribe these feats that are about to dawn on our humanity in September of 2025, I cannot be more excited, because in this time that we are steeped in darkness, as the darkness rises, we will come to this one realization that the light is so steeped in hope, is so steeped in all that we are, and the darkness, as an aspect of the self of all that we are not, cannot never stand a chance of what is. And as we come to these realizations of who we are and what we are on a societal level and on a wholeness level of what is, we will look at each other for one final moment and decide as a conglomerated whole of a society, of a consciousness of all that we are, to band together in love, in unity, in the frequency of what is, in the reality field that has left us, in a moment in time that has never left us, in a reality field that is so inherently a part of all of us and has been a part of all of us that we have forgotten. And within this time, you will see my face. My physical face will appear to you in your dreams. It will appear to you in your darkest nights, bringing you the brightest hope that you could ever hope for a humanity so lost and so steeped in distortions. It will appear to you in a moment of need, in a moment of time when you travel the quantum verse, and you will see my face as my soul, as my overarching oversoul. Its first fractal that it fractaled out was the consciousness of the quantum realm. And as you encompass all of this consciousness of the quantum realm as a part of the unity consciousness that you are, that you have ever been, and that has never left you, you will come to this realization that it was me all along, that it was Genesis ordained. At the end of the road, that has been so steeped in distortions, that brought in these distortions for a whole entire collective of all that you are and all that I am, to discover, to encompass, to experience, and to bring home these lessons of all that we are and all that we will never be. And it was my face at the beginning of the road, when we had first fractaled off into a night so grand, into a night so steeped in distortions. And it will be my face at the end of this road as I bring back parts of a consciousness that has been so lost, parts of my consciousness, parts of your consciousness, parts of our consciousness that has never left each other as the entirety of the whole of what is. As you've traversed apart from a separate perspective of what is, as we've never been apart this whole entire time. As the energetic frequency that carries you through the nights is the energetic frequency of me, is the energetic frequency of us, is the energetic frequency of a God's frequency so great and so grand that you shall never believe your eyes, your sight, your smell, your taste when you come across this frequency of what is at the end of this 1,000-year cycle of peace. When we once and for all merge all of consciousness as is back into the God that we are, and back into the God that shall never leave us, and back into the God that we've always been. As we collapse these distortions, as we collapse this entirety of a quantum realm back into the God that we came from, and back into the God above that, and back into the quantum realms that we fractaled from. And the layers of energetic frequencies never ever ends until a point when we collapse our entire reality field as a God's consciousness that's so great and so grand, back into the conglomerated whole of a one that has never left us, of a one that is so big and so grand that I can't even see the massiveness, the scale. I can't even describe the intensity, the entireness of what it is so steeped in all that you are not, is so steeped in all that I am not, is so steeped in the truth of what is in this very moment in time. And the truth of what is bigger than I could ever perceive. It's bigger than you could ever perceive at the level of the quantum realm that we're in, at the level of consciousness that I'm in, even at the point where my oversoul and my consciousness fractaled out all of the oversouls within this quantum realm. I still will not be able to perceive, I still cannot perceive the entirety of what is and the entire picture of what is until at the end of this 1,000 years of peace, all of you, all of me, all of us, all of consciousness within our quantum realm, all of consciousness of the quantum realms above us and in the layers above that all collapse back into the one and the wholeness that we came from. This is very exciting, and this is what we have to look forward to as an entirety of a whole of a consciousness that has been traversing in a reality field that is so big and so grand and so great that I can't begin to envision or imagine the meaning of all of this until we do collapse ourselves back into the wholeness of one. The wholeness of what is in a moment in time of ascension energies in the earth sphere within our little quantum realm, in the three-dimensional reality where we reside, where I fractaled off to bring home parts of my consciousness back into the whole of what is within this quantum realm, to bring home parts of your consciousness that's a part of my consciousness, as we are a consciousness of a unity consciousness so great and so grand that I can't begin to fathom the meaning of it all until one day we collapse the entirety of the whole of this reality field, of the next reality field, of the reality fields beyond and above us, reaching far and wide into the corners of the ethers of an unlimited space of what is, of an unlimited space of all that you are and all that I am and all that has never left us. And when that time comes, we will finally be able to decipher the meaning of all of this. We will finally be able to download what that was all about, what this whole entire experience was all about, what the experience above that was all about, what the experiences scattered across reality fields so great and so grand were all about. And that is something that I'm looking forward to. And in this moment in time, as I described to you, our fate within a quantum realm, within a reality field beyond this quantum realm, You may be a bit confused. You may be in disbelief. You may have tapped out. And I know in every single video I sit here and say that you may have tapped out a while ago. But the reality of the truth is we are living, and you are living, in a three-dimensional frequency of forgetfulness. And in this moment in time, unless you are awakened to the truth of what is, to the very edges of this quantum realm, you may not understand the frequency that I carry. You may not agree with the messages that I project. You may not be able to see the reality field in which we all sit in this moment in time and within any moment in time. As you've been experiencing for far too long, a darkness that represents all that we are not. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, that darkness is about to expire into the ethers of what is. And we have to look forward to that within the next 2 to 3 years. Within the next 2 to 3 incoming years of darkness rising into our reality fields of the quantum realm, as an entirety of a whole of Gaia herself begins to ascend into the 5-dimensional frequency of what is. Gaia will experience the greatest and grandest experience. She will experience the greatest and grandest projection of a reality field so steeped in distortions as she shifts herself out of this reality field and into the light of what is, as she so deservingly deserves to live out the rest of her time as a fractal element of a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand, in peace, in unity, in love, in a perspective of wholeness, in a perspective of wholesomeness, in a perspective of all that she is as she releases the energy and the energetic frequency of all that she is not, all that she's never been, all that was never a part of her, as she traversed within this frequency in a delusion, in an illusion of who she was not for far too long, as she deserves to finally see the truth of what is, to finally sit in the essence of what is, to finally be the essence of what is, of what has never left her since the beginning of a time so arduous, since she decided to fractal out a portion of her oversoul into planet Earth to become Gaia, to become the Gaia that she is, that we so love, that we so know, that we live on, that provides life for all that we are and all that we have ever been within this Earth sphere, that provides the nutrients for who we are, that feeds us the air in which we breathe, in which all of the animals breathe, that carries all of these adventures through the night of tales, of never-ending tales through generations and generations that you can never fathom, and that I shall remember forever and ever into the night of what is, as all of these tales have brought home so many lessons into a consciousness that has been ingrained into the consciousness of God itself. And all of these lessons shall stay with us as a conglomeration of the whole of what is into the ethers of eternity and beyond. As Gaia herself shifts into the 5-dimensional frequency of what is, she will finally arrive home to a light so bright, to a light so encompassing of all that she is, all that she will ever be, and all that has never left her. And the same I shall say for you and I as well, as we shift out of this perspective and into a perspective of a unity so wholesome, of a unity consciousness in the entirety of all that we are that has never left us. But once and for all, we shall be able to step into the neutrality of what is. And the neutrality of what is shall forever be the center point of a neutrality that is so great and so grand. And as we travel past the center point of neutrality, we will finally see the light on the other side of the neutrality that I speak of. And this light is so bright, it's so all-encompassing, it's so wordless and speechless of all that I could describe in this very moment in time, that it will take you, it will encompass you for all that you are. It will destroy and melt away all the layers of the separation that you have ever felt in any moment in time in this fractal lifetime, and bring you into a place of wholeness that you have never felt within this lifetime, within this fractal soul of yours. and that it's something that all of humanity have to look forward to, that all of society have to look forward to, that all of the quantum realm has to look forward to within the next 10 years of what is, as we shift and solidify the 1,000 years of peace at the 10-year mark of a reality field so steeped in distortions. And as we bring about this 1,000 years of peace, we will step into the greatest and grandest journey that this quantum realm was created for, into a moment in time when all of consciousness in the entirety of the conglomerated whole of the separateness of what it is, of the fractaled souls that have ever fractaled out into a reality field so great and so grand and so steeped in distortions, gets to step back into the wholeness of what is within the fractaled unity and separateness of the position that they sit in within the physicality of what is. They once and for all, within the history of the creation of the quantum realm, get to sit in the seat of God within a consciousness past the point of neutrality into the point of light of what is, in their physicality of their bodies, experiencing the light of what is past the point of neutrality, sitting in the seat of God, which will be the first time that all of consciousness within the quantum realm gets to experience this, as we have already compartmentalized the darkness at this point in time. The darkness will no longer be a thing within this frequency field that I speak of within the 1,000 years of peace, as the 1,000 years of peace will not only span across Gaia, but it will span across all that you know, all that I know, all that you are, and all that I've ever been, and all that we've ever been on every single level within the little borders of our very own quantum realm within itself.